Alright, so today I am going to fulfill a request that somebody had where they wanted to know how to say these two phrases in Finnish. So the phrases would be bring it here versus take it over there. So let's start with bring it here. There are a couple different ways that I would personally say this. And again, I'm going to be using puhekieli, so the spoken or more casual version of Finnish, for all my examples because it's a more natural way of speaking. And if you're wanting to learn spoken Finnish, these are the kinds of phrases you will most likely use instead of a more bookish kirjakieli. The most informal way of saying this phrase would be tuo se tänne. Tuo se tänne. Tuo se tänne. So bring it here, tuo se tänne. So bring is tuo. So coming from the word tuoda, to bring, tuo is like the command version of that. Se means it. Tänne is here. Tuo se tänne. That's just a direct request, a direct order. Tuo se tänne. Now, it can come off a little bit rude, I guess, if you're speaking to maybe someone higher up than you. I don't know, like a teacher or your boss. You might not want to say like tuo se tänne. Like it comes off a little bit rude, but if you're like with your friends or your siblings or I don't know, someone you're close with, tuo se tänne is perfectly fine. It's just like a command, tuo se tänne. It's just like, bring it here. Blunt, to the point, tuo se tänne. It does the job. I guess a little bit more polite, like if you wanna, like if we start off with the most informal and like kick it up a little bit more polite, like kick it up a notch, the next version would be tuotsa sen tänne. Tuotsa, which is combining tuo and sinä. So you bring, tuotsa. Sen is again it, or that thing, it, that thing. Tänne, here. You bring that here. You bring it here. It sounds a bit weird in English, but in Finnish, when you say tuotsa sen tänne, it does sound a bit more polite than tuo se tänne. Tuo se tänne is more like a command, like bring it here. Tuotsa sen tänne is a bit more like, could you bring it here? Like it's a bit more of a request rather than a command. Tuotsa sen tänne. Tuotsa sen tänne. Tuotsa sen tänne. Then if you want to go the most polite form of like this same sentence, the most polite way you could ask is to use the... Again, I'm not very good at Finnish grammar because I've never studied it, but the ISI form, the isi, which is kind of like how you would... Because Finland doesn't have a direct word for please, so putting the ISI letters in your word make it sound like you're saying please, like it's the closest thing you have to please in Finnish. So you would say toisitko, could you bring, toisitko sen tänne, which is like, could you please bring that, toisitko sen tänne, tuo se tänne, tuotsa sen tänne, toisitko sen tänne. So that is step by step more and more polite. So yeah, the most polite version would be toisitko sen tänne. You could also say voisitko tuoda sen tänne. Could you bring it here, please? Voida or voisitko is like could you. Toisitko, like tuoda is to bring. Voisitko is like could you. So it means the same thing, it's just like swapping out one word for another. Voisitko tuoda sen tänne is the most polite you can, I guess, go. Voisitko tuoda sen tänne or toisitko sen tänne. Voisitko is just adding the question word in the beginning. Voisitko tuoda sen tänne, toisitko sen tänne means the same thing. It's just whether you add the question word in the beginning or not. Both mean the same thing. It's not necessary to say voisitko. Voisitko tuoda sen tänne, toisitko sen tänne means the same thing, I guess. Voisitko tuoda sen tänne, toisitko sen tänne. Yeah, I mean, to my ears, they both sound equally polite, but I guess it's just whether you want to add that question word in the beginning or not. Could you? Yeah, because it translates to could you, so do you want to add could you or not? But yeah, then if you want to say, take it over there, there is, again, various different ways you can say this and various politeness levels that you can say. So starting with the least polite, vie se sinne, which is again like a blunt command. Vie se sinne, take that there. Vie se sinne, take it there. Vie se sinne, vie se sinne, vie se sinne. Vie se sinne. It's a command. Yeah, so that's the most blunt and to the point. It's a command. Vie is to take something or like taking. Se, that, or it. Se, it is more like it. Sinne, over there. Then you could say vie tämä sinne if you're like holding something. Tämä means this, so bring this there. Vie tämä sinne. Vie, bring, tämä, this sinne, over there. Bring that there. You could also substitute sinne with tuonne. They essentially mean the exact same thing. So you could say vie se tuonne. Tuonne. I guess the only difference between sinne and tuonne is sinne could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be close by necessarily. Sinne. It's just like somewhere that you've like talked about before and they know sinne means like an X location. Tuonne is more closer and usually in view. So if you say vie tämä tuonne, it would be like, can you bring this to the other side of the room? Like, vie tämä tuonne. Like, it would be like within walking distance in the same room or somewhere you can see. So I think that would be the only difference between sinne and tuonne, but you can kind of use them interchangeably. Then if you want to step it up a notch and be a little bit more polite, you can again do like a similar thing we did with the previous example. So just change, instead of just say vie, because that's the command version of viedä, vie, you would use vietsä. So could you bring? Vietsä, could you bring? So it's in a more request kind of form. Instead of vie, which is a command form, vietsä makes it sound more like a request, like you could turn it down, you could say no. Whereas vie is like, you don't have a choice, you are bringing this thing over there. You're just combining viedä and sinä to vietsä. So sinä shortens to sä. Viedä, vie, vietsä. Could you take, could you bring? And then the most polite form would be Veisitkö tän tonne? So this is again quite puhekieli way of saying it, but the most polite puhekieli version of saying it would be Veisitkö, which again has the ISI, which is the closest form to please that you have in Finnish. So Veisitkö tän tuonne or tonne? Veisitkö tän tonne? Veisitkö tän tonne would be, if you wanted to add sounding like you're saying please in Finnish, you'd say it like that. And then again, if you want to add the question word, the question word, you would add voisitko viedä tän tonne. Voisitko viedä tän tonne would be, could you please bring this over there? Voisitko viedä tän sinne? So yes, again, I know I'm not going into much depth about the grammar. I'm just giving you a sentence here. But again, I admit I am no expert on the grammar. I would have to read up on the grammar or like order some kind of grammar book or something because I haven't really studied Finnish grammar ever, so I can only go by what sounds most right to me, which is how I make my videos. Oh, this sounds correct, so I'm just gonna use this example. But yeah, if anything is confusing, because I feel like this video was a little confusing, do please leave it in the comments below and me or some other Finnish person or someone that knows the answer will try to help you out as best as we can. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I didn't confuse people more. Hopefully that was helpful. But yeah, I guess that just about concludes the video. So until next time.